So I've been thinking about what is phase, and I've been trying to think of a good metaphor for phase. And I'd love to know what your favorite metaphor is for phase. So what I've been thinking about is two people who are trying to do two things at the same time. They're trying to support each other. So maybe like two people rowing a boat, or two people trying to lift something. So imagine if two people are trying to lift a case or a phone in this case, and this is one person and this is the other person. Well, we need both of those people to lift at the same time. Otherwise, if this person lifts like this, it's going to fall down, and if this person lifts too early, it's going to go this way. So we need them to lift at the same time, and we need them to both show up at the same time. So this person shows up at 10 a.m. and this person shows up at 11 a.m. Well, there's only one person there. They're not there at the right time. So they both show up at 10 a.m. They both lift at the same time. They're in sync. They're in unison. And that's kind of what we want our sound system to do, right? If we have multiple sources, we want them to both lift at the same time and work together in sync. So I think it's kind of a similar thing with air molecules, right? So if you imagine like the end of this silver Sharpie is an air molecule, and if you set up a sound, like I snap my fingers and sound wave goes this way, and this air molecule moves from its point of equilibrium to wherever it's going to go, and then it comes back through equilibrium, right? Because it's going to compress and hit the one next to it. I'm sorry, the air molecule doesn't compress, but the air molecules together compress, right? So they create these sections of compression and rarefaction. But what I'm thinking about is just the life of a single air molecule. So this guy gets a signal, he moves from his point of equilibrium, he comes back, and then maybe he keeps going, depending on what the signal is. But imagining that it's like this perfect pulse that just goes like boom, then it goes here, here, and comes back. Or imagining that it's a sine wave that is constant, maybe then it starts going like this, right? So if we have then two sources that are going to try to work together to move that air molecule, not only do we want them to be in sync and lift at the same time, but we also want them to start at the same time and both show up at 10 a.m., show up at the same time. So if we have now a source here and a source here, and they both start at the same time and they're in sync, then maybe they both send their energy through air molecules, and now this guy gets both of those signals at the same time, and it goes, all right, now I'm now I'm twice as loud or whatever. But if this guy starts and then this guy starts a little bit later, or if this guy starts and this guy's over here and they like send their signals from different directions, then maybe that air molecule, it gets bumped into by the one next to it, and then it comes from down here and it gets bumped into from the one next to it, and then it's a stalemate, right? It goes nowhere. The two energy sound waves sort of like create this stalemate. And then if you had one up here and one up here, and they start at different times, then maybe you've got this air molecule that goes like this, and then it gets another signal, so then it creates like this kind of weird shape that's happening. Or maybe the signal was coming this way, but now it comes from up here, and so now it's going this way, and that's not what you wanted. So yeah, I'm curious what your favorite metaphor is for phase. If you have something better than two people lifting a case, and like they need to lift at the same time, they both need to show up at the same time, and be in sync. So that's what I've been thinking about recently. I'm preparing for the workshop that's coming up on Sunday. I'm going to put that into the comments right now. So I have a workshop coming up on Sunday called Intro to the Phase Graph, and we're going to be talking about exactly this kind of thing, like the basics of phase, and how we can use our phase graph to get things done and really understand it quickly without needing to have, a PhD in physics. Cool, so let me just see if there are any comments real quick. So Miguel says, hi. Hi, Miguel. I'm doing good. How are you? And Dave says, yo. Hey, Dave. By the way, Dave, I've got my BSS working great after some of your help. And I even figured out how to make the control panel look better on my separate screen. Okay, so if you watch this later and you have any suggestions for me about phase metaphors or phase questions, please comment on the video and I'd love to see them. All right, thank you.